Hello, this is Michael Wojcik with your City Council update for April 19th and April 26th, 2010. Two things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the Pens project that'll be going up on 2nd Street, and in addition to that, I'm also going to be speaking to the issue that we had with a landlord that basically was the chauffeur for this guy who drove around shooting up Rochester. And as far as I know, at least as long as I've been involved with the city, this is the first time anyone's ever called a special meeting. And myself and Mr. Bilderbeck did that to address this issue. With regards to the Pens project, this was formerly called Shops on 2nd. Now it's more of a suburban style development. When it first came out, I believe I described it as an embarrassment to urban planning. It got a lot better since then. I give the people involved a lot of credit for that. Once the neighbors were allowed to get involved, I think there were some good suggestions that were taken. Still a few concerns. I did vote against it, but at the same time, I'm glad the project is going forward. I just hope that they choose to do a little bit more than they have to actually make it a quality urban building. I'm very passionate about 2nd Street being a grand corridor that welcomes people to Rochester and the downtown, and putting blank walls up against 2nd Street and huge surface level parking lots is maybe not what we had in mind. There's going to be 3 buildings there. One is going to be a Holiday Inn Express. They've made a lot of improvements to the building itself, but the reality is the side of the building that faces 2nd Street has no architectural character whatsoever. And it wouldn't cost very much to fix this. Some really relatively minor changes, but right now it's a big blank wall, which is, as any of you that understand urban design, a pretty poor urban design. I always like to joke that anyone can design suburban subdivisions, but if you need someone with talent to design an urban building, and I'm just afraid that the people involved, particularly the folks with Holiday Inn Express, probably don't have the competence or ability or capability to design an urban building. I think that the community is getting a little bit of a lemon as a result of that. In addition to that, so there's really 3 concerns I had. One was this facade facing 2nd Street, which is embarrassing at best. It's going to be basically a big old blank wall with a steel door facing 2nd Street, and not cool. There's also an enormous parking lot, way more parking than any rational human being would ever say was necessary. But because Holiday Inn Express is used to building suburban style developments, they wanted every piece of parking they could possibly get. And as a result, there's basically no internal landscaping to the property whatsoever. And as there's some landscaping around the periphery, which should be pretty nice, but really within, it's going to be a big flat surface parking lot, which is a little bit disappointing. Earlier, the plan that they had shown the neighbors actually showed about 6% more landscaping, and in the pursuit of absolutely ridiculous and unnecessary parking, all that landscaping went away, and now we're going to have a big black asphalt lot. Another concern is that if you know the backside of Miracle Mile, not exactly the most attractive building on earth, we're actually going to do a strip mall building up there that's going to have the same thing. It's what's often referred to as a crime wall. A crime wall, basically think of the kind of walls that get graffiti painted on or places where people don't want to be, like the backside of Miracle Mile. Well, we're going to do the same thing with the backside of the strip mall building facing the neighborhood. Now, I hope that we're going to be able to bury some power lines so we can at least get some better landscaping about it. So these are my complaints with the project, but there are a lot of improvements that have been made with the project, and I think it's a good spot for a development. I'm sure the businesses there are going to be phenomenally successful. I just wish that the Holiday Inn Express had a little bit better people working for them. I think that everything suffered as a result of the fact that they don't understand apparently anything about urban design. Moving on to the next issue, staying in the same area, right across from the Miracle Mile crime wall is 14 16th Avenue Southwest, and that is one of several homes owned by Laura Boardman. Whether or not she lives there seems to depend on the day of the week. But to recap, essentially we had a complete idiot off his meds. Of course, when somebody's off their meds, you want to take them out drinking for their birthday, which is what Laura Boardman did. And then they got back into the car. Apparently, she didn't know that he had her 2 guns in the vehicle, even though he was apparently wearing an ammo vest. And so they drove around Rochester, firing randomly at properties in her vehicle. Drove up to another home that she rented, and kidnapped a guy there, threatened him with his life, put a gun up against his head. Eventually, this is the guy that he was going to shoot his dog because his dog ran off, but he shot himself. Perhaps the only reasonably good thing that happened here is the dog survived and he got injured and had to go to St. Mary's. But all this happened. This guy was renting from Laura Boardman, and she did not have a rental certificate. She's rented this property a lot in the past with no intention of renting, and she claimed that it was a home. It was her home, so she didn't need a rental certificate there. But at the same time, she was advertising it for rent on the internet, and as soon as that got out, she was smart enough to realize that she had just done something incredibly stupid, which is what criminals tend to do, incredibly stupid things, and immediately took it down. Just one little problem. We had seen it and recorded it and have a copy of it, which shows that she's going to be in violation. Why is this important? Well, the special meeting that we called with Mr. Bilderberg and myself called in order to get her out of the business of being a landlord, which is what everybody wants. People that are this dumb shouldn't be in business, doing this kind of business in Rochester. She endangers the public safety and welfare. So hopefully we're going to be able to take this violation that she's almost certainly to get for renting without a license and hopefully apply that against her other rental license and, God willing, put her out of the landlord, slumlord, whatever you want to call it, business here in Rochester. Now, you might think that if you're driving somebody around, they're shooting up homes, kidnapping people. You might call the police when you got the opportunity. Well, not if you're Laura Boardman. You might think that perhaps when you got home, you might call the police. Not Laura Boardman. She just went to sleep. So this is the sleaziest of the sleaziest here in Rochester. We called the special meeting because we want her out of business. I personally want her out of business, and I'm hoping that we're going forward, we're going to be able to do that. Now, it's important that we take action from the city standpoint because the reality is they need to get this Jordan Blevins for sure, and I'm afraid that she's going to get some sort of a sweetheart plea deal, so she tells on him and he goes to jail. But it would save her any criminal violation. And one last thing, because she also has a realtor's license, I've asked some realtors to file an ethics complaint and try and get her license revoked too. Basically, Laura Boardman, anything I can possibly do to destroy your ability to make a living as a slumlord here in Rochester, I have done to this point, and I'm going to keep fighting that battle. Thank you all of you for watching, and that's about all I have for this time. I will see you again in a week or so.